This is a podcast about our lived experience, which unfortunately includes infant death and subsequent mental health struggles. Please take good care of yourself and only listen if this content feels safe for you right now. We'll still be here when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Judith.
And I'm Alina. We both lost babies to SIDS in winter 2021.
In the throes of grief, I reached out to a stranger on the internet and our friendship was born.
In the years since, we've been working hard to survive, rebuild, and navigate the continual challenges that have come our way, including divorce,
Job loss,
dating while bereaved,
moving multiple times,
health scares,
pregnancy and parenting a living child,
starting new jobs, and so much more.
We are tired.
Happily ever after is out of the question for us, but this podcast documents our journeys to happier ever after because we believe life after loss is worth living.
So join us as we laugh, cry until we laugh.
Welcome to As Long as I'm Living podcast.
We're so glad you're here.
Hi. How are you?
You know, I'm actually not great. I'm sure you can tell from how I look.
Hi.
I'm sorry I'm
I haven't
late.
seen you in so long.
I know. I feel like, so listeners, it is a couple days after Quinn's death anniversary, his 5th death anniversary, and I'm still moving slow. Like I feel like I haven't fully recovered yet. Typically it's like the lead up's really bad and then the day is bad and then it kind of like I wake up the next day and I'm all better. And I definitely felt some relief the next day, but I gotta say, like, I'm now 4 days out and I'm still not really fully on earth.
Well, what do you think it is? Do you think it's just it?
I think it's just the way that it's hitting me this year. I just have like a long tail of, it's not like I'm still sad, but it's like my brain is still not totally working and like, you know, I'm just not back online fully yet. But I'm so glad we're recording because I have stuff I want to talk about.
That's why we're recording, as do I. So you go
Good.
first.
Okay, so while we're on the subject of Quinn's death anniversary, I have a couple little stories and thoughts that I wanted to share. So first of all, Judith, I didn't tell you this. I remember I texted you on his death anniversary and I was like, oh my God, we have to record. We have to record. Something happened. And what happened is, okay, so then this was not his death anniversary. It was related to death anniversary. This was the day before my birthday. So my birthday falls 3 days before his death anniversary. Heading into his death anniversary is my birthday, and I'm already kind of like, you know, out to lunch typically. And this year I turned 35 and I said to my husband, I want a cheesecake. I want cheesecake for my birthday. I want to blow out candles and like we can keep it simple, but I just want to like, you know, that's what I want. And so the day before my birthday, he went out on an errand and he came home with a box from a bakery. So I was like, okay, he got the cheesecake. Great. Excellent. The night before my birthday, we're lying in bed and I was like awake and I was like, you know what? I want to kick off my birthday and I want to have some cheesecake now. And he looks at me, he goes, what? Why? You want cheesecake? And I was like, I do. And he's like, cheesecake. And I was like, yeah. And the way he was acting, it was like he'd forgotten to get cheesecake. That's like how he was acting. He was being like very odd and weird. And the end of the story, by the way, is that there was cheesecake. He was just trying to like make it so that I was going to not have it early and have it on my birthday. Like he was like trying to like preserve the integrity of the birthday cheesecake. And he was like, oh, cheesecake? You want cheesecake now? And I was like, what? Is there like something wrong? Is there not cheesecake? And the way he was acting, it was like there was something he was keeping from me. And he was acting like somebody who's planning you a surprise party. That was how he was acting. And I was like, is there going to be like a party tomorrow? Like, is somebody bringing me cheesecake and there's no cheesecake? Like, I was like definitely like confused. My brain was like running through possibilities because he was being so weird. And for a split second, Judith, literally like a hair of a second, just the teeniest, tiniest second, I thought to myself, I wonder if Quinn's bringing the cheesecake. And I'm laughing now. But what happened is I had this thought. I was like, maybe there's a surprise, and it's that Quinn is bringing cheesecake. This is what my brain thought. I'm serious, for like literally like 0.00001 seconds. I was like, oh, Quinn will bring me cheesecake. Surprise! It'll be Quinn, and he'll bring me cheesecake. And when I realized that he was dead, after that 0.00001 second, I sobbed. I cried so much because it was like in my heart, I realized again that for the first time, again, he was dead. And I only had that thought for like the teeniest, tiniest little bit of time. And it still, the crash was so hard. It was so dumb what my brain thought. But isn't that interesting how like he's so integrated into my life and my family that I could even for a split second think maybe he's bringing the cheesecake? Like,
I
what?
think that it's like a phantom limb, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like you always feel this absence, I think.
Yes.
Still, even if you learn how to like function and walk and you're on Paralympics, like still, you know, your leg is gone and you're always, you know, you're looking for it.
Yeah.
Biologically wired.
It was so intense. I was so sad. Like, I was really, really, really sad. Like, oh my God, my son died. Like, that was like how I felt. I was like, oh God. And of course, I don't think that would have, I think it hit me so hard because I was already kind of in my death anniversary feels.
I was going to say, I
like,
think that it was one of those things that you're death anniversary. And I find when I'm in the death anniversary, it's like your body's just waiting for something to set you off.
Totally.
It's like,
and sometimes it's a relief when it finally
but
happens.
I
Like, it's
agree.
like, oh.
I agree. It's really a relief. Like, I always feel like it's humming in the background and you really just want something to spark it. And it could be the smallest, dumbest thing in the entire world. I listened to, her name is Sienna Spiro. Do you know the song? She's very hot on TikTok, which makes me sad. And I'm actually going to see her.
I don't have TikTok, as you know, because you send me TikToks and then
Well,
I
she
Google
went on
them to watch.
I think. And now, anyway, some of you guys in the audience know who I'm talking about. You think she's very cool. She's great. And just the way she sings, it's like from her soul. And she sings this one song, and I listened to it probably 350 times in a row. And it's like somewhere around the 130th time, I just started sobbing. And it's like, I feel like I just needed someone to open the window a little bit. It was all there. It was just like, what was going to crack it open? For you, it was this weird cheesecake thought. For me, it was just the way this woman was singing. It's like, it's there. Your body is just looking for an avenue.
It is always there.
But when it's there heavier, sometimes it's there heavier and it's louder. It's like more present.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I don't feel it for a while, it's just like becomes heavier. It's like you need to cry even more.
Yes. I actually think what might be happening to me right now is I actually think there might be like one more good cry in me.
And until you get it out, you're going to feel like it's not going to feel good.
Yeah. And I've cried every day this week. I think I've cried every day for a week, which is unusual for me at this point, 5 years out. Gosh, 5 years out. It's unusual for me to cry every day, but I have cried every single day this week. I cried yesterday because I took my daughter to a music class, like a little baby music class yesterday. And I was just so sad that Quinn never got to go to music class. Like,
that thought happens to me also.
And I think we often talk, most of what we talk about here is our experience of them being gone, of course, because it's us. But I also, every once in a while, well, pretty frequently, there's another side of the loss, which is all that he didn't get to do. Like, I'm missing him right now, present, and then he also missed out on a lot. And it's just sad. He never got to go to music class. I never got to take him to the library, it's just sad. So anyway, that was one of the things I wanted to say.
Well,
and then the other thing that I wanted to say that came up for me, this death anniversary birthday thing, is this is my first one with a living child in my arms, and it definitely hit me differently.
Tell me about it.
I have been having like a lot of anxiety about her dying. I was really, it's funny, I was really worried that more worried than normal that she was going to die. And also like, I kept thinking to myself, if she's going to die, please don't let it be on the 18th. Like, I want her to have her own death anniversary. Like, if she's going to die, like, please let it be the 17th or the 19th. Like, please, please, please don't die today of all days. Like, don't die today, okay? And so I've definitely had, like, increased anxiety. And my husband, sorry, you guys, if you can hear, I'm sorry if there's background noise, but so my husband does most of the overnights in our house and I do the early morning. So if it's like after 5, I take over, but he does like the 11 to 5 shift. And she every once in a while will wake up and sometimes he feeds her some whatever. All this to say, the night into the death anniversary, I put her to bed in like, a certain set of pajamas and a certain sleep sack. And then apparently she threw up overnight or like spit up enough that he had to change her. And I go in the morning to get her, and she was wearing her hedgehog sleep sack. And I said to my husband, I was like, did you do that on purpose? And he's like, actually, in the middle of the night, I was looking for one that wasn't that because I thought you might find it like a little on the nose, like a little challenging.
So that's all he could find.
Was all
And he was desperate.
And he was desperate.
He was like desperate.
He was like 3 a.m. I gotta get a sleep sack on this baby and get her back to sleep. And so she wore the hedgehogs. And so I go in to get her and she's wearing the hedgehogs.
It was a little wink.
It was a wink. But anyway, the last little thing on my list relating to this is because I have her now, I think this is probably not going to make any sense. This is going to sound like a high thought. I'm not high, but I feel like there needs to be a different word for, or maybe there is a word and I just can't think of it, for like gratitude, but gratitude when you actually know what it's like to not have it. Because so like people hold their kids, right? They're alive kids and they're like, I'm so grateful that they're here. I'm so grateful they're alive. I'm holding my daughter and I'm like grateful she's alive in a very different way than a normal person. Like it's like almost like a miracle, like truly a miracle. Grateful for this miracle.
I'm trying to think of what that would be. Gratitude,
right? It's a different concept. It's different, and it's something that I'm feeling a lot. I felt a lot with my daughter this week. I felt it a lot where I'm just so. It's unbelievable to me that she's here and she's alive. Like it truly shocks me. This whole week it's been shocking me like 10 times a day. And I think part of the reason I'm so exhausted right now is because it's just been a lot of feelings for like a week. Like I feel like I'm like so hyper present and so maybe to a detrimental extent, like grateful for like, I'm like, oh, look at her stacking her blocks. You know, like she's here. Quinn never got to stack blocks. Like it's just like a lot of mental clutter, like a lot of chatter. So anyway, if anybody has any ideas for words for what I'm talking about, I'm all ears. But that's what I've been feeling this week is that. And then devastation and exhaustion and all of
What was the actual day like for you?
You know, it was kind of a non-day, you know?
I still went out in the snow.
We did. We had a good amount of snow. We had like 3 or 4 inches and we took my daughter sledding in our yard for the first time. And I had the thought, I was like, do I want my daughter's first sled to be on Quinn's death anniversary? And I went with it because I was just like, whatever, like her first time at the beach was on his birthday. So like, why wouldn't her first time sledding be on his death anniversary? I don't know. It just is like a haunted kind of day in my mind. Like I remember I woke up early in the morning and I wanted to know what time it was, but I didn't want to look at my phone because I didn't want to see the date on my phone. You know, it's just like, it's just got bad vibes for me and not for everybody, but it just is bad vibes for me. And so I'm relieved she didn't die on that day and relieved she didn't die altogether, but we did go out in the snow. And I woke up the next morning feeling some amount of relief, but I have to say I have not fully recovered yet, and I'm still 40. I'm already 4 days out. So it's different every year. I'm definitely like functional already, you know, going out and doing things. Went to the gym, we went to music class. Like I made a couple of really good dinners this week. Like I'm definitely like functioning, but just it takes a lot more effort to be a person than is typical. So that's the situation with me, gang.
Yeah, I'm proud of you though.
Now it's Aiden death anniversary season. I'm done. Oh, sucks to suck, Judith. You're up next.
Does it? But I'm still so glad that they're all in the same seat. It's like, I'm glad it's not like months apart. Yeah. You know, where it's like, we have to do this again in August. That would be even harder.
It really does feel like we kind of do it all together, you know? Like we have birthday season in the fall, and then we have death season in the winter, and then we're all set. And you and I, spring and summer, Judith and Alina are thriving.
Spring and summer, Alina and Judith are different people. Well, also this week, this entire season, my phone sends me memories. It's like, remember on this day we did this, remember on that day. So I just got a notification yesterday that on this day, back when Aiden was alive, we were in San Diego this weekend. It was during Joe Biden's inauguration, so that would make sense because it was 20th. And I just remember.
Hang on, thinking back, I remember being so nervous because January 6th that happened, right? I remember being so nervous that something was going to happen the day of the inauguration. And then I remember it being like February because Quinn died on the 18th and the inauguration was like the 21st, whatever. I remember it being February, and I remember turning to my mother-in-law and being like, did anything happen with the inauguration? Or like,
Did it go?
Weeks later, I was like, did anybody die? Were there any assassinations? Is Joe Biden alive? Like,
Yeah, it went well. I could give you an update. It went well. I listened to it, and I remember that I tuned in. It happened to be that when I tuned in, Amanda Gorman was singing her, was reading her poem, and I was on a walk, and I just
love
remember
that poem.
I think that was like the last day I was trying to breastfeed him. So I kind of remember that. I don't know. I was just thinking about him. It's Aiden season, so I was thinking about him. I just feel him a lot closer in the winter season. Like I feel like myself, like much closer to tears all the time.
I was saying to my husband and I were talking, actually it was our marriage counseling, and our marriage therapist was like, so how many times has Tyler been with you for the death anniversary? And I was like, every time. She was like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, I've never done it without him. And I was also thinking just now as you were talking, I've never done it without you. We've never done it without each other. We already knew each other. And I remember the first year, I remember like when the clock ticked over and Quinn had died, but Aiden was still alive. Well, the year after when the anniversary of Quinn's death had passed and Aiden's hadn't, like that was like an odd transition because like I was a year out. I feel like there was some relief with that, but like you still had, like you could look back a year, you could say like 1 year ago he was still alive and I couldn't. Like it was definitely like an odd.
Yeah. Couple months.
I can't believe that. Isn't that crazy that we met that quickly though?
You're so lucky that you met Tyler when you did, because I feel like in a lot of ways Tyler knows Quinn in a way that like my future partner would never be able to know Aiden. First of all, I found myself that like I'm protective. I'm very private about it. I don't really talk. I mean, I talk about Aiden quite a bit, but like my actual grief, I really don't talk about. And I really keep, and I think the reason why I don't talk about it, even when I'm dating someone or not, is partly because it's just protection of myself. Like, I don't want to let somebody in because you have to be so vulnerable. When you met Tyler, you were so in the thick of it that he was like,
I didn't have a choice. Like, I had to be.
Like, it was happening.
Yeah.
It was happening.
I couldn't choose vulnerability. It was just out there.
I really kind of keep it separate. Like, I'll say, like, oh, I was crying a lot last night, and then they'd be like, why? And I'd be like, I can't even explain it if I wanted to. Why? Because the song was sad. Or because the weather was just slightly close to what the other weather was when he died. And then it's like, even if I could explain it, I just don't feel like anyone could really understand the magnitude of it. If you haven't been through it.
Half the time, there's no reason. I mean, sometimes even Tyler will look at me and I'll be like, I'm really sad today. And he's like, why? And I'm like, well, my son died. And he's like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, what do you want from me? I'm sad because my kid's dead.
The piece of me that Aiden lives in is like, it's like if you were to stand on a billboard butt naked. You know what I'm saying? That's how it feels.
Yeah.
It's the most intensely private, and even if you're just exposing it to one person, it feels like you're exposing it to.
And in the beginning, like they dropped us off on that billboard. They took all their clothes, they dropped us off up there, and like so I met my husband, like I was on the billboard. Like there was no ladder I could get down.
In a way,
and now we don't live up there anymore.
I know, but it's so wonderful because then Tyler knows Quinn. And he knows what you need, and he knows what your grief looks like. And I think that there's something really, you're lucky about that. Well, I got a sign from Aiden the other night. I hadn't gotten one around his birthday, so I was feeling kind of sad about that. But then
I remember we talked about that.
I was having this cry with the song, and I said to Aiden, like, I could really use a sign. Please send me a sign. I really need a sign. And then, like, 10 minutes later, I got a text from someone, and it was 11:30 at night, and this person just happens to live in LA. Not someone I text regularly. And the person was like, I was just at an AA meeting and I was talking about Aiden. And he's like, because someone was talking about their son who had passed away and he's like, so I brought up Aiden. I was talking about him and he's like, I just want you to know every time I talk about Aiden, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to text you. I just want you to know that I still remember him and I talk about him. So she's like, I just decided that I'm going to tell you every time, even if it's like the most inconsequential thing. And he told me this like 10 minutes after I'd asked for a sign. I was like, I'm going to take that as a sign because that never happens.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
I know. So he's a nice person, but also I really felt like I needed it. So I was grateful that I got this.
And I have to say, like, if anybody's listening to this and you're not a griever and you just know a griever and you're trying to support them, send the text. Like, I got some texts from
How many people remembered?
random walks of life
First of all,
who texted me.
First of all, how many people remembered? Second of all, did you post anything on social media?
I posted nothing on social media, except I posted on our podcast Instagram. So, that might have reminded some people, but obviously I'm posting on there. But I didn't post anything on my personal socials this year. I haven't, I don't think, for a couple years. And I got some texts I got from like a high school teacher who sent me a Facebook message, like some really like not the core group, not the core gang. The core gang always remembers. And then there's like a second tier that typically remembers but is kind of falling away. And then there's always like the randoms, like there's randoms. I
had an interesting experience where there was this woman that I saw like randomly post on social media that it doesn't matter what I saw, but she is single and has a son, and I knew her from way back yonder, but I remember she was very cool. I liked her back then. So I texted a mutual friend that I saw on Facebook that we were mutual friends, and I said, do you think I should reach out to her? Like, would that be so weird? It would be nice to meet somebody who's in my community who I know who's gone through something similar. I don't know if I should reach out to her. Like, I literally was not her friend. I just thought she was cool from afar. And she's like, 100% you should reach out. I was like, I don't know. I was like, let me draft a message and send it to you for approval. So I drafted this whole message. I was like, we're looking for easy breezy. Like, hey, just saw this, wants to let you know I was going through something similar. Like, let's get drinks. Very easy breezy. This person wrote back, by the way, look at this ring I have. It like lights up.
That's so fun. Did you get that from your daughter?
No, I got that from my office.
Oh, it looks like something a 3-year-old would be obsessed
with.
It
is something a 3-year-old would use, but I'm using it. And then she wrote back within 2 seconds, and she was like, "Oh my god, I listened to your podcast." What? My podcast? What could you?
You're a celeb. You're a celeb.
I don't think it's that. I think it's that people just want to know that there's someone out there that has a worse life than they do.
Okay, speaking of being a celeb, being a niche celebrity, I had an experience recently. I also didn't tell you about this because I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. I follow an influencer she's like a mommy blogger. Well, she was a mommy. She doesn't blog anymore, but she's like from the early days of mommy blogging, and she lives in my town. And I didn't realize she lived in my town when I moved here, but she happens to live in my town. I've never seen her, and I had never seen her in real life. And my town is not big, but I had never seen her in real life, even though she posts stuff about like going to the bagel place I go to and going to the diner that I go to and all this stuff, right? And then I saw her the other day. My husband and I were out to dinner, and I see this woman and her family out at the same restaurant. And it was insane, you guys. Like, insane, okay? For me, like, my brain was like snapping in half. Like, it was just confusing to see someone you only know from the internet in person. And the reason I'm bringing this up here, first of all, I did not say hi to her. I don't even care. I don't follow her because I'm like obsessed. I have no personal attachment to this person. Just happen to follow her, right? Whatever. So I didn't say hi. It doesn't matter. But the reason I'm bringing this up on this podcast is I've met people who are listeners to the podcast in real life a couple times, and they're like, oh my God, it's so funny to hear your voice. Like, it's so crazy to see you, to hear you in real life. And if you ever see me, and you're like a podcast listener, like, please do say hi. Like, I want to hear about your baby. I think we've said this before, but like, this is a niche. This is a small enough niche. Like, I want to talk to you. I genuinely want to talk to you.
No one ever knows me from podcast because you live in the area that Empty Arms is, and I think that Empty Arms talks about it more. I don't know anyone. But the point is that you meet these, like, there's these mini influencers that you meet. And then you're like, wait, I don't know if I'm a fangirl or not. This feels like a very weird thing. So can you imagine something like I'm a lost fan? It would just be a weird thing to say. So I'm sure no one would say anything to me, and that's totally fine.
But please do say hi. Please do say hi. I genuinely mean that.
I reached out to you, and I'm like, let's grab drinks. It's cool to say you listen to the podcast. I think that's pretty cool.
I sometimes will be messaging people who I feel like I know. There's like, we have however many followers on Instagram, but there's like a core, like, 15, 20 that I feel like are like real friends at this point, even though we've never met. And I was messaging somebody recently, and I used my daughter's real name, and they were like, oh, her name's so beautiful. And I was like, oh, right. You want to know her name because I don't know you. But anyway, say hi.
Yes, say hi. And also, if I reach out to you, I hope that you want to have coffee with me or drinks with me. And I'm meeting this woman for drinks, and I hope that it goes well. I'm always looking for friends, kind of.
You literally are always looking for friends. I'm never looking for friends. Never.
To all of our wonderful new friends, we want to hear from you. Email us at aslongasimlivingpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at aslongasimlivingpodcast. We'll get back to you as soon as our grieving brains allow. Yay!